Hello and welcome back to season 2 of Living in Color. I am so grateful to be here today with Melanie Ollenberg and Sarah Hedges of IAC, Inner Arts Collective. You guys, I'm just amazed at what you guys have here. When I walked into the space today, just getting to know you guys, the energy was off the roof. Off the charts, whatever it may be, but it's just a beautiful place here, and congratulations for everything that you guys are doing. So, what are 3 words to describe the Inner Arts Collective?
Collaborative, healing, and
forward thinking,
future forward.
Yeah, future forward for sure.
Amazing. Can you give us a little bit of a background on the Inner Arts Collective? How long has it been around? What inspired you guys to open up this center?
Wow.
Okay. I think we're going on 3 years in August.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
So that was the conceptual birth of the business itself. We weren't bricks and mortar until I think the January or February after that. But actually, I think the seeds were planted by Melanie. Mostly, do you want to explain how?
Yeah, sure.
How
well,
this came about?
I was a mom and a practitioner. I'm still a mom, and a Reiki practitioner and a palmist. And as a mom, it just didn't make sense to rent space full time. Like most healing spaces, to rent them in Toronto, you have to rent full shifts, like for half the day or a full day. And I needed a home. I needed a home just for my own sanity, I think, too. Just away from the house and like where I could be in my practice and nest in an office and create a healing space. And in order to do that, I rented a full-time office and then I subletted it to other practitioners. But instead of making it like a set number of hours that they would have to rent each day, they were given hours per month that they could rent and options. Yeah.
Do you want this many hours or that many hours?
Yeah. So it guaranteed my rent at the end of each month.
Right.
I wasn't profiting from the space, but I had my rent covered,
Right.
and I had a space to practice.
Amazing.
But a lot of people ended up wanting in the space, and it was just one 10 by 10 room. And eventually Sarah was one of the tenants there. And we ended up creating a bit of a community in the space, but we didn't have a community space because everybody would rent the room to see their client and then leave again. So there was all these other people that were kind of using this space, but we never really got a chance to meet each other, and everybody was doing some really great things. I had a couple meetings in my house to bring everybody together to see if we could support each other's practice. But it never really took off. And eventually it was growing to the point where it felt like I needed to find a different space. So I went over to Sarah, we went out for a drink. I'm like, I need to give you a heads up, but by now we'd become friends because we'd been working together for a while.
Yeah, and I was your Reiki student.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
And I wanted to honor that. So I said, I think I'm going to be looking for a space and I wanted to give you a heads up. And she said,
strangely enough, so I was, and then I come in. So my supervisor, I'm now, I've hung up my practice for the moment as a psychotherapist, but at the time, my supervisor came to me and she knew that I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I like to kind of have my own ideas. I tend not to work well within the system. So I always come up with different ideas. And she's like, you've got a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. Would you be interested in renting? I have this office space in the basement with 3 offices. And at the time, I was really interested in doing it. But I'm also a bit of an introvert. And I come from a music industry kind of background from the last couple of years, and I just had a few friends, from therapy school that were still doing therapy, but everyone was kind of in they were working in places, they weren't really doing independent practice. And with Melanie, I was like, Melanie's just really dynamic, she knows everyone. I'm really into astrology. She's a dragon. If you ever want to do business, this is a little tip for everyone. If you ever want to do business, get into business with a dragon. So I was
Dragon
like,
here too.
yeah, right? Exactly. My husband's a dragon. I love dragons. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to, when Samantha, my supervisor, told me, I was like, I can't do this without Melanie. I just knew straight away that she would be the piece, but I really wanted to do this. So the funny thing was, we were going out for this beer, this belated birthday beer. And I was going to propose, I was going to say, like, listen, I have this thing that came up. But before I even had the words come out of my mouth, she's like, Sarah, we need to find a new space, I think. And I was like, no way. So it was just like, it was, and it's been literally like,
and we said, sure, let's give it a shot.
Since.
Amazing.
So we expanded the model. That space totally fell through. And the same day it fell through, we went out for another drink. And we were like, do we continue with this and look for a new home? Or should we stop? Mm-hmm. And the lawyer that had looked at our lease, she said, you guys have a good thing. You should do this.
Keep the business going.
Keep the business going. Just find
Amazing.
a different place.
Yeah.
And that day we found a new place. We saw it. We signed up for it, and
and it was great.
And it was awesome. It was at Young and College, right downtown.
Yeah. Okay. Right near the yoga sanctuary, their old space there.
So this wasn't the first space?
No, it's our second space.
This was,
A beautiful space it is.
Yeah. Well, and we would have never been able to conceive something as large as this when we were first starting. But because we had that first location, it had 2 offices and a central sort of kind of hub area in the middle. And there was a renovation that was happening next door that forced us to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
So we consulted the community about if they had a dream of what would be the perfect place for them to do their practice and thrive in their business. We consulted all of our members and people in the community. What do you need? What can you possibly picture? Think outside of the box. And as the responses came in and we were tallying the responses, a realtor, Sarah was calling around different places, and a realtor called her and said, you have to check out this place. But it was way outside of our budget. We're like, no way.
And he was the first person to call me back. And he's like, you gotta come. And you have to, I mean, honestly, you need to meet Tony. He's just amazing. He's like, you gotta come. Like, what are you kidding me? Like, you just gotta come. You're gonna be here. You're gonna rent this. And we're like,
so we came and we were like teary-eyed, but we couldn't conceive of how we could. It was triple our rent. We were in our first year of business. There's like... It was like, this is too big.
It's perfect alignment. Like, everything was just perfect alignment.
Yeah.
Divine timing and perfect alignment. And this is like your baby. So I can see the passion in you guys and where this has all gone forward. So congratulations.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's only been possible because so many people have come together to make it possible. Yeah. Like, we had investors, donated furniture.
The landlord gave us a break on the rent for a couple of months.
Wow.
It was
they
incredible.
They liked our energy. They liked our business plan. They're like, again, like the lawyer, they're like, you have something here. Yeah. So they were willing to take that risk. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again, guys. It's such a wonderful space, and you're doing so well for the community and everything that you
That's
guys
what it
do,
all
so
is down to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What prepared you in life for this kind of work?
Well, Melanie and I have come from very different places. I think that being private practitioners at some point in our lives has been probably the biggest influence. Myself as a psychotherapist and Melanie doing Reiki and palmistry. And there's a lot of difficulties. It's lonely. You have to wear every hat. When you're in therapy school or when you're practicing your gift, you don't think about things like marketing and web design and so there's a lot involved. And also ethical marketing when it comes to certain practices. And then I have a background in I worked at North by Northeast for 11 years, and so I managed a large part of the volunteer crew and the outdoor stages there for a while. So, and I, outside of that, before that, I was working in the service industry. Well, not before that, but alongside working in the service industry for 18 years. So I have very solid customer service skills. I think being a bartender helps you become a very great psychotherapist. It can also hinder you, but I think depending on your personality, it can work. But yeah, having that different managerial aspect, and Melanie was a CAMH for a long time.
So my background, I have a health science degree, and I got that degree as a result of a number of issues in the system, both my own health, but also family trying to access care and services and being really let down.
Right.
And I understand now that gave me the tenacity to want to create change in the system. So rather than get apathetic, I was like, I think I need more education in order to figure out how to create change. Mm-hmm. So my degree was a major in addictions counseling, and I worked frontline for a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as satisfying as my Reiki and palmistry practice.
Right.
So it was, I ended up getting into the Center for Addiction and Mental Health and working on community research and evaluation projects across Canada. Mm-hmm. And those were more around like benchmarking projects and improving practice and policy for people with mental health and addictions issues. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was based in hearing from clients what their needs are, and then making sure that their needs were heard by people that were creating the programs. Mm-hmm. And making sure that there were multiple decision makers around the table to create programs that were informed by clients. Mm-hmm. So outside of that, it was a lot of like program design for the YMCA and the Red Cross. And then always just, I think I've been a bit hooked on community for like years. Like I'm 40 now, so I think ever since I got a taste of community in my early 20s, mm-hmm. I've just like, to see a small group of people make huge change, it has inspired me to put all my eggs in that basket. Mm-hmm. Like the way of the future is definitely to work together.
And what a wonderful community we have here in Toronto. So many light workers moving forward, moving together.
Seriously.
And this is the hub. This is, the light of the world, of the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we spread our wings and we fly, and we're light workers, and our light just shines all over the world. I'm gonna tear up by the end of this.
Seriously, I know.
Guarantee I'm probably gonna cry.
I just so the vibrations are off the chart right now, and I love you guys. What would you like to say to? What are some of the challenges that you have found within the healing arts in community? Within the members that you serve, the rest of the community, how have you found within?
I've come across a couple that really surprised me because of my love of community. I thought that would be shared a little bit more. Right. And I know a lot of people really, they want it. They say they want it. They want community and connection.
Yes.
Yet, in school and in the way society is set up, I think we're being really trained and taught to be independent and to function individualistically. And I don't think a lot of practitioners know how to collaborate.
Right.
We don't know how to create circles of care. And when I was working in like different hospitals, traditional, I don't actually consider them traditional because they're modern. Mm-hmm. Allopathic medicine, Western kind of organizations.
Big pharma.
You have it's very common to see multidisciplinary teams gather around a client to make change. Yes. You have committees, you have board meetings, you have all these things. And in the natural health community, we are fragmented, we're separate, we're not meeting. People don't show up to meetings. And there needs to be, I think a lot of people are just trying to make ends meet. Yeah. And they're really, it's not a fault. It's not for a lack of intention, but I think one of the challenges is there's a lack of skill and time and resources and communication to be able to like come together around and create that community that will make change for the future, because we can't do it alone. We have to come together.
You're absolutely right. Yes.
I think for me, I would definitely echo what Melanie's saying, and I think to add to that, I think for me what I see is a lack of self-care across the board. People don't look after themselves, or they're doing, I don't think there's ever such thing as too much self-care, but I think also a lack of awareness. So we have people that want to, that join in and, they're not able to kind of fully be present for their practices because they want to do that, but they're having a hard time showing up. And I do think as someone who enjoys spending, sort of that hibernation kind of time, I completely understand where that's coming from. But at the same time, I agree that there needs to be a certain amount of solidarity, and we've put ourselves culturally into this virtual relationship with each other all the time. Everything's online, everything's, and this is how we sort of meet our social needs. And it's very, very pervasive. Like, we're opening a retreat center right now in the Muskokas, and we're like, what are we going to do?
I heard.
Yeah. What are we going to do about people's phones? How are we going to address that? And so, because people who want to go to retreats have a hard time putting their phone and leaving it on, away. And so I think that ultimately part of the challenge is to sort of re-educate, or not re-educate, but to remind ourselves that we actually need each other's energy. Like, we need to physically show up, to be together, to like amplify this amazing light working energy, this incredible vibration we all hold, especially now as everything's, this spiritually transformative time is so dynamic. So there's even more reason to meet, right? And I think it's, stay home, be with your loved ones. That's fine. Do whatever you need to do. But if you want to affect your practice, if you want to affect your clients, it is so well worth the consideration of showing up, of meeting other practitioners, of having small conversations. Like, I'm getting into collaborative work. I'm technically in retirement right now for my practice, and I'm getting into very interesting theoretical collaborative work around, recovery and women's trauma, and the role of tattoos in that. And so there's, that's not something that I would have thought of a long time ago. This has come through conversation, just through having chats with people, and suddenly we're like breaking new ground together. So I think it's really important for people to remember, you don't have to show up. There's no pressure. Do whatever you need to do to look after yourself. Self-care is number one.
For sure.
However, the energy that we all hold is worth showing up for.
For sure.
So consider that.
That's great.
Another thing that's interesting, and I've found that a lot of people, we're not alone. Like, we have our families, we have our partners, we have our children, we have our friends. And when you function in a practice, it's really important to be able to reach out and involve those parts of your life. Like, they're part of what you bring forward. And but a lot of people aren't familiar with how to incorporate family and loved ones into on their side, as part of their team and their allies.
An ally, yeah.
And there was another. Just around, a lot of folks are really great at asking for help. Some people are not, but they ask, but they have a lot of practitioners have a very difficult time receiving. We often create opportunities that are answers for what people have asked for. They've asked for it over and over, and then when it comes to actually receiving, there's little response. There's a resistance there, and I think it taps into the self-care.
Yes,
just that ability to receive is there's something there that needs healing.
Where did you come up with the name? I see the Inner Arts Collective.
It was a little bit, it was a little bit to do with the original space we looked at. Everything we came up with was like denoted sort of a tall thing, but we were looking at a basement rental, so we're like,
has to be going within.
Does this make any sense if we're going to call it the Lighthouse and it's in a basement or whatever?
Right.
So, and then we're both quite seasoned in our own therapy, I think, as well as a therapeutic role that we play in our lives as practitioners. And we recognize that everything is, you don't have to go anywhere. Everything is within. That's why we meditate. That's why we, there's God in there. There's the universe. There's source. There's everything.
And there's so many different modalities and practices that are tools to help you get there. Yeah. But it's about going within, whether you're a client or a practitioner, going within to develop yourself professionally or to help a client through a really hard time.
So it's the inner art.
It's the inner art.
Yeah. And then we wanted to also make the space available to divination practitioners as well as people who do more sort of westernized,
the regulated professions.
Exactly. Like therapies or counseling or life coaching, that kind of thing. So we thought arts was, it seemed the least inclusive and the least with baggage. And then we were actually practicing a little bit today with some of the questions, and I started thinking about the word art and how when you say someone has an art about them, it's like they have their they have, they know the art of this or that, they know the skill of it. So it's also about skills, like that aspect of the word art. So our inner skills as well as the arts that we practice to go within, kind of thing. So,
that's beautiful.
and then of course collective to denote the group of
collective
us.
whole.
Yeah.
Right. And
It's
that
a
no one's
co-working
in
space,
charge, right? Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I would really love to see some more of this space. Would you guys want to take a tour around? And
Yeah,
for sure.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and show us around a little bit.
3 floors of beautiful
Amazing.
healing space.
Amazing. Let's do it.
Thanks. Let's go.
Okay. Wow, what an amazing space you guys have here at the IAC.
Thank you.
All these rooms and different levels, and now we're here up on the roof patio here in Toronto, and it's a gorgeous day. So thank you guys for taking us through this space as well. What is, how does the IAC service their clients and their members?
I would start probably with the basic offering, which is a monthly membership where members can come in, use the space whenever they want to a professional capacity, really come and use the lounge to work on their website, to collaborate with peers that are not members or are members. It's really up to them. Of course, we have office space that's rentable for when you are, when you have clients booked. And we offer monthly professional development workshops where we bring professionals from who are outsiders, like not necessarily working within their own practices. So these are people who are offering help in marketing and branding, in web design and strategic planning. So this is sort of the other part of your practice that maybe a lot of practitioners feel a little bit concerned about or want that extra bit of support. We also offer lots of opportunities to market yourself by having events. People can rent the downstairs space and have workshops, and we also have our connection with the Taste of the Danforth. We're going into our second year of offering the Urban Oasis.
Oh, wonderful.
So if you're down here for Taste of the Danforth, anyone, come in and have a little foot massage or a little Reiki session.
And when's that?
It's the 11th to the 13th of August.
Okay.
And we're having all of our members have been offered the opportunity to come down and do an offering of about 15 to 20 minute mini session. And it's all based on donation, and it's about giving back to the community and letting our members have the opportunity to expose their practice to the local community.
Amazing.
So
Currently we have around 60 members, and we're looking to grow to about 100 or so at this location.
Okay.
And then we'll be expanding elsewhere. And the neat thing I think about our membership base, the space has attracted naturopaths, reflexologists, massage therapists, different kinds of divination arts practitioners, people that body work, psychotherapists, counselors,
chiropractors.
Yeah, it's really neat to see them all working alongside each other and be able to have a space that they can all come together. So hopefully it will address one of the challenges that we've noticed in terms of like how independent people practice. Just having this space where people can actually come together and have a space like this where they can work on projects, even shoulder to shoulder. They're more likely to say, "Hey, what are you working on?" And like share tips and stuff.
Learning from each other and just expanding the mind and whatever else. You said expansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well,
with
we're
that?
already expanding right now. So you want to talk a little bit about that? You've been busy in the Muskokas.
Yeah. So we did. It's interesting because we're opening a retreat center in up north. It's just 2.5 hour drive outside of Toronto.
It's called Rosso Sanctuary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's like meadow and forest and stream and river and log cabin and healing installations through meandering trails.
I already feel healed just
it's
from
just
you talking
like
about it.
it's so beautiful, and it's so beautiful how it's come together, because when we do our business in a very unique way. Like we have our strategic plan, and we present our plan to spirit. We did a pyramidion meditation, and we presented our plan to spirit and saw how it changed, and nature kept coming through as something that we needed more of in terms of what clients need, but also what practitioners need to take their practice to another level.
Right.
And then not long after that, I think within a week, the conversation started rolling about this property, and everything has flown. It's a 50-acre property, and it's part of a larger project, which is the development of a conscious community. So it works with the same principles of collaborative economy and resource sharing and creating a sustainable future for healing,
Right.
for practitioners, but also for clients, for people that need healing.
Amazing.
And we're looking at creating our own, food sustainability, planting the garden, looking at eco-conscious bunkie designs, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's going to be a family-friendly space and a pet-friendly space. So outside of that, we're also looking at moving, like opening other locations in Toronto. We've heard from our members through the community consultations that we have with them. We have a community consultation at least every year, just to touch base with what people need.
Right.
And they've really expressed a need for another location in a couple other neighborhoods of Toronto.
Amazing.
One of the things we've not been
guys.
able to address at this location is accessibility, and so that's something that we want to have a look at. And our main floor is it's a nice space, but we're looking at also somewhere where we might be able to have a larger space where people can do, like, I, as an expressive
Events.
arts therapist, I have a background in photo therapy, so doing like photography was a big part of my life before I got into therapy. So it's always been a dream of mine to have a bit of a studio, to have that. So yeah, we've got some boxes still to tick just in Toronto alone. But I do have to say that this space that we've come into just recently out in the countryside, it's just been pretty amazing, because we've, like, from the get-go, we've recognized that the energy that comes with the birthing of a new business is as dynamic as an energy that comes with the birthing of a soul, of a plant or a person or an animal. And so we've always recognized that the business is its own entity. We actually have natal charts for the three of us, and what's really cool is when you look at the three charts together, we balance each other out perfectly.
You so do. You so
right,
do.
and with that business. So we really recognize, and we talk, and this is interesting because this is language that I've developed through starting this business with Melanie. This is not the language that we used before this,
Right.
but we do recognize that there is a spirit, there's a soul that's the business, and the business has kind of come to us and said, like, I need to exist. And so we are kind of like, are you getting these weird conversations and it was like, repeating numbers and just like all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so then we started tapping into it, and it just came. And so
allies have showed up to help us do
Yeah.
it, like channelers, feng shui practitioners, astrologers, leadership consultants, Akashic Records
like,
consultants,
amazing,
like energy workers and masters and healers of land, and and everybody has come pro bono. Like, everybody has come to give,
and there's
because
so much
they
magic
believe in it, and it's incredible. It's actually just pure magic. It's so
Amazing.
beautiful.
And you guys have something coming up in the near future?
Yes, the conference. Oh my gosh!
Right.
Please.
So we were talking earlier about one of the challenges in the healing arts community being people coming together to collaborate. And one of the things that came up in our community consultation and our meetings with our members was that they can work around a project. They can come together around a project that's specific and attainable and measurable. And outside of that, they're happy to work independently. So more and more, just addressing what is the future of healing. Where are we going as alternative and complementary health practitioners? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? Where's our sense of agency?
Right.
What are we trying to initiate and compel into being as a community? And we need to start thinking outside of just our own practice and into a common agenda and a common goal. What are the barriers? What's holding us back? How can we use our numbers to actually create some solutions? So we're using the conference. So it's the Shaping the Future of Healing.
And the conference is when?
It's November 17th to 19th.
Okay,
Of this year.
Yeah.
And it's really going to be used as a launch pad. We have some amazing speakers from all over the GTA, not just members here at the IAC, to look at the different kinds of healing that the community is being called into,
right?
And they're proposing some solutions for how we can move forward in the world as practitioners and how we can collaborate. And we're going to use a percentage of the funds that are gained from the conference to actually help create think tank discussions throughout next year to mobilize the dreams and the visions that come through the conference and through that conversation.
Amazing.
So we'll see how it goes. And we're really inviting people that really want to be a part of shaping the future of healing. Like if you feel like just listening to discourse, it might not be your thing. If you're ready to engage and be a part of the future, like we hope you can make it, you know?
You guys are definitely part of the future.
Thank you.
You're pushing things forward, and you guys are absolutely amazing.
Thank you
If
so much.
people want to reach out to you, how would they reach out to you? How would they get
Check
hold
out our
of you?
website for sure, innerartscollective.com, and our email is just innerartscollective@gmail.com. Please, definitely want to hear from you. Want to hear from any healers that are interested in talking to us.
Yeah, and if you're a client looking for service, you can also reach our service directory on the website and be connected with all of the practitioners that are members through the Inner Arts Collective. And if you have any questions at all, questions are fully invited. You need to go find a practitioner that really resonates for what you need. And that's the most important thing. And if you need any help navigating that process, just give us an email and let us know.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah and Melanie. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on Living in Color.
An
Thank you for
absolute
coming.
pleasure.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's
And,
been an absolute blessing.
All the best to the Inner Arts Collective and all your members and the community that you serve. Thank you so much.
And to Living in Color.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for getting the message out.
Woo! You guys are amazing. Thank you again.